Only there for like 3 months, September to December, hated it. And honestly, that caused like a trigger for certain spirals that happened for me, where it was like, okay, God, what's going on? Because you've said this and this and this and this in my life. I'm not seeing this and this and this and this. What is going on? Hi guys, my name is Jodie Ofori and this is my talk show, CUSHN CNVOS. I cannot believe we are finally doing this. This has been literally 2 years in the making, but we finally arrived, so we thank God. As I said, this is my talk show, CUSHN CNVOS, where we have real vibes, real conversations, all while being transparent with a hint of vulnerability to inspire growth and transformation. Like that in a wrap. So, as I said, this is just conversations that me and God have been having, that He has permitted me to bring to all of you guys to also engage in the same conversations. As I said, I cannot believe I'm on the couch, but this is the couch that we're going to do these conversations on. So, as I stated earlier on, this has been in the works for about 2 years, and we thank God for just bringing this into fruition. Initially, when He told me that I should do a talk show, this is not me that said, oh, I want to come and do a talk show, because when God said it to me, I was saying another podcast. God said, no, another talk show. So I said, hallelujah, because I didn't want to be another one of the another ones. But we are here now and I'm grateful for what He's going to do with this. Make sure to like and subscribe, because you're going to want to join this community, and everything that we have here is, as I said, is to inspire growth and transformation. So why wouldn't you subscribe so you can grow? Like, come on. But we're going to get straight into it. So one of the conversations that me and God was having, something He's been highlighting to me about in my personal life, was about feelings, emotions, things like that. And I know when I said feelings, you thought, oh, relationships. No. We're not doing that today. We are speaking about, as I said, the emotional sides, when circumstances come to you, how do you deal with your feelings? How do you react to your feelings? So, as I said, this has been something that has been highlighted in my life, because I tend to see myself as a bit unemotional. I don't think that I'm as emotional as the average person. Not that I'm trying to be cool or different, it's just the way I feel like I was set up. The reason I saw myself as unemotional, because I feel like when circumstances or things were presented to me, I guess I wouldn't give the reaction that the everyday person would. The only time I probably would cry is in movies, or something like tragic really happened, fair enough, I would, but I don't think I was as emotional as the everyday person. But I was even thinking, when God was speaking to me about this, I was like, okay, God, what are we talking about? You're talking about emotions. What's wrong with my emotions? And He was like, Jodie, you need to really look at the way you handle yourself and deal with your emotions in everyday life. Because I was so used to seeing my emotions being manifested in one particular way, where He was like, no, you need to pay a bit more closer attention. It highlights like this and it highlights like that, and we're just going to get into it. So I had to go back and be like, oh, what's the definition for emotions then? Because what's the problem here? And then what I saw was a strong feeling deriving from one's circumstance, mood, or relationships with others. As I said, we're not doing the relationship side today, but we're going to focus on one circumstance and mood. So with mood, I knew that, okay, especially coming from 2022 out of uni, I feel like that was a big transition for my emotions. Coming out of a space where it was kind of like we were in a bubble, you had your friends, you had everybody you would speak to and everything, or you would see every day, a specific routine that you were in. Coming out of that was a bit difficult for me, because I was like, okay, 1, we're going into the real world. 2, now it's career time. I need to have things patterned. I need to know what I'm doing. Coming out of that, going into a job that I had after, like the summer after I finished uni, going into that, hating that job. I've never hated a job so much like the one I had after uni. I was working in like a customer call center for like something. They had the NHS ones, then I was doing something else. In that, I was only there for like 3 months, September to December. hated it. And honestly, that caused like a trigger for certain spirals to happen for me, where it was like, okay, God, what's going on? Because you've said this and this and this and this in my life. I'm not seeing this and this and this and this. What is going on? And he had to really like show me how I handle things when I'm not seeing the vision. How do you handle your moods or emotions or feelings when you don't see the things that God has promised in your life? And that was a big thing for me in that time. So I literally, because I hate the job so much, December, Christmas time, set my 2 weeks notice. I said, I'm quitting. I'm not doing this anymore. Yeah, see ya. And then they, first of all, he emailed back like, oh, why? I didn't know you're quitting. I was like, I sent my email a few weeks ago. I'm not going to be here after Christmas. I'm not even taking you guys into the new year. After that happened, I was literally jobless for like 6 months. We're talking January to June. Nada, niche. And that, first of all, I don't wish any sort of poverty or brokenness on anybody, but during that period, it was heavy. And because of that, it really caused me to go into a dark space. It caused me to go into like a, we get it real on this couch. We are really exposing it all, but it caused me to go into, to be honest, if I'm going to say it plainly, depression. I was depressed. And for somebody that, I think we hear about depression and things like that a lot, but we don't, when it manifests, we're not always aware of it initially. I think later on, when we come out of that space, we're like, oh, damn, I was depressed. But in that time, I don't think I knew it. I was just always low. I'd be crying all the time. I was like, Lord, what's going on? I even forgot to mention that it was even God that told me to quit my job. But after he told me to quit my job, he said, I don't want you to work. He didn't even say when I would be going to get another job. He just said, I don't want you to work. I said, okay, when I first heard that after the job I hated, I was like, yeah, calm. You don't want me to work? I won't work. But then when you start to get into the nitty gritty of things, of not working and how you're going to provide for yourself and everything else you need to do, it gets a little bit leave it. But during that time, as I said, I was super low in a super dark place and things like that. Depressed, all sort of thoughts kicking in. But even that time, I feel like that's when I saw the comfort of God so heavy. That's why I saw the provision of God so heavy during that time. And again, he made me aware of so much of my emotion, made me aware of how I would react to certain things. Because I'd always be like, yeah, nothing really affects me, nothing, I'm good, I'm chill. Put my collar on, yeah, nobody can do it like me. But it was really like, okay, when push comes to shove, when things get to the nitty gritty, how are you going to handle yourself? Are you still going to stand in faith? Are you still going to stand on the word and the promise that I set over you? Because you're saying you believe, but right now, your emotions and everything and how you're going about is like, you don't really believe what I'm saying to you. And what I'm saying is not to say that, having emotions or feeling emotions is bad, but it's not a sin. You're very valid in your emotions. But again, I think it's how we react to your emotions was the difference that what I had to learn. Because what I would do is that when things were down, Jodie was stagnant. I'm not doing anything. I'm not moving anywhere. If I can't, and especially if I can't be bothered to do something, you're not going to get me to do it. And if I do it, it's going to be a real push and tug. And he was like, okay, this is what I'm trying to highlight into you. This is what needs to change. For the growth that needs to happen inside of you to be able to walk in everything that I've called for you. And that was a big thing, especially with me. I didn't really care about a lot of things until I got overwhelmed with stuff. And in circumstances where I didn't like what that was being said, where I felt like things weren't going my way, I wasn't seeing certain things, I would literally shut down, and it would be very hard to like get me to speak about certain things, or just even speak about what was on my mind. And he was like, okay, we can't do this because of what I wanted, where I want you to go and what I want you to do. So that certain things got to change. I'm not even going to say that this was an easy, I'm still going through the journey, I'm still going through the process, and it's been something that I'm constantly pulling myself up on. Hey, Jodie, this thing that God has called you out on, you're doing it again. This thing that you said that you're not going to do, hello, it's coming up again. Make sure you catch it. Make sure you stop it in its tracks. And again, that was my reaction of things. Because when things got dark, my first thing would be to question God. Oh God, where are you in my situation? I thought you were meant to have my back. Like, you always do this. You always put me into positions that I don't like being put in. And he was like, why do you always do that? When things go wrong, why do you always jump and question who I am? When it says in Genesis, I am who I am. I am Yahweh. I am provider. I am Jehovah Jireh. I am Jehovah Shalom. So he brings peace in every situation. And it's like, for some reason, when you get into circumstances, you forget everything that the word says, and you allow your feelings to be your truth. And your feelings are valid. Yes, they do exist, but your feelings aren't truth. And I was like, whoa, because I feel it's like, I'll be going through something and I'm feeling something so heavy, and those feelings will cloud everything that I'm going through because it's all I can feel in that present moment. But he's like, as much as you feel this, stand on my word, because that's truth. Your feelings aren't truth. As I said, being emotional and having emotions isn't a bad thing. Again, how you react to it and how you allow your emotions to affect you is where we can make the change. Because with emotions, they're always on a pattern. The pattern is with a circumstance arise, a thought comes in your mind, and then an emotion comes out as a reaction. So for example, if let's just say I'm walking down the street and somebody barges me past the road, I turn around and my thought is, why did you do that? And that's now made me annoyed because I'm deep in that you've not even said excuse me or anything. You've barged me and you just keep stepping. You've kept it stepping like it's just that. And it's like, okay, instead of allowing that anger to form, we need to break the pattern at a stage before you can get to a certain emotion. So the thing was that, cool, you can't change certain circumstances. You can't change how people will behave towards you. You can't change how people will speak to you or anything. That is out of your control. But what you can control is your thoughts and your reactions. And that was a big thing for me, because I thought, how do I control my reaction? Because I feel as though, one, it was coming on a vibe of when God was speaking to me about it. It was like, okay, so are you telling me that I'm not allowed to feel the way I feel? I feel upset, I feel hurt, I feel annoyed. And he was like, no, you're very valid in those feelings. You're very valid to be able to, I've given you these emotions for a reason. You're valid in that emotion, but you can't allow this emotion to affect the way your day is going to go, to affect the way your week is going to go, to affect the way you think about me, God. And it was like, what I need you to do is understand that in that time, in that moment, you felt like that, but that's not the truth. My word is the truth. What I've spoken to you is the truth. And yeah, one thing about, because sometimes the enemy will be putting in certain thoughts in your mind, especially when I told you 2021 to 2022, dark time. The enemy, constant conversation with me, because there was a lot of things going on where I was like, oh yeah, you're not worthy. You don't need to be around. You don't bring anything to this earth. And I was really like, yeah, I don't bring anything to this earth. I'm not worthy. And he was like, and you just, again, when you're going through certain things where your emotions and the circumstance and everything is so dark, you tend to just lean into what the enemy is saying and lean into all of that. And you need to stop that in its tracks. Like, sorry, that's not what the word says. The word says, I am loved. The word says, I am a conqueror. The word says, I am more than victorious. So I'm more than the overcomer. And that's the truth, because I believe in the truth, the way, and the life, which is Jesus Christ. Hello. So that is something that I had to really lean on. And I'm telling you, it is so difficult. Sometimes we say certain things and we just think, oh, because we've said it, it's going to happen. Putting that into fruition, putting that into practice is so hard. And it's something that I had to learn, and I'm still learning now. I've not arrived anywhere. I'm still on the journey and I'm still learning. But it is something that you have to do daily. You have to bear that cross daily. You have to die to that flesh daily, even when you don't feel like doing certain things, even when you want to relax in that mood. And that's something that the Lord was speaking to me about. He's like, initially when I was going through that period of, I call it the 2021 to 2022 period. When I was going through that, the dark space I was in, the Lord highlighted to me, you like to wallow in there. Sometimes you know what you need to do to get out of that space, but you just want to sit in it because you feel comfortable being down. You feel comfortable being upset. You feel comfortable just chilling in a bunch of vibes and energy that you don't need to be in at the moment. And then I was like, okay, cool. I really do kind of, as much as I don't like being upset or sad, I do enjoy sitting in the sadness, sitting in the loneliness, sitting in the space of just like, oh yeah, why me, Lord? What are you gonna do about me, Lord? When you're coming through to me, Lord? And he's like, you know what I've said, you know what I need to do, open up that word, and then maybe we'll see some sort of a difference. But I was like, I don't want to really do that right now. I kind of want to wallow in this space. And then when you're adding things like R&B on top, and now the music's playing and the vibes are low and it's even making you cry more, it's all certain things that you just know this is a recipe for disaster. So cut it in its tracks and just pick up that word and stand on the truth. Stand on the word of God, which is, again, the way, the truth, and the life, is Jesus Christ. So again, that was just something really, really, a real big period in my life that affected me, but is still taking its works today. But something that I just thought would be so beneficial for not just myself, but for other people. You may be going through certain circumstances, certain situations, whether it's your job, career, finances, health, where your situation looks so dark and your emotions are all over the place. Yes, you are so valid in everything that you're feeling. You're so valid in being upset, in feeling that hurt or pain, whether it's you've gone through grief or whatever it is, you're valid in that pain. But again, it's also how you react to it. You can sit in that emotion for a bit, but don't let it drag out to be where, okay, there's been no sort of progression in your life. There's been no sort of change, because when you don't start to also see change in your life, that's a whole nother ball game and a whole nother thing that you just start rolling in as well. So standing on what the word says, even when your situation doesn't seem like it, even when your circumstance doesn't look like it, is honestly the best thing that you can do. So understanding that even when you don't feel like doing certain things, whether it be prayer, whether it's worship or reading the word of God, doing it anyway, because you know that those things are going to be beneficial for your life, and you know those things are going to change your circumstance or even your emotion or mood at that time, because you know that when Jesus is there for you, and you know that even when you read his word, it becomes a life to you in that moment, but in your life. So again, just feeling that even when things aren't changing, that might be the reality at the moment, but that's not the fact, and that is not the truth. God is working on your behalf. Jesus has changed your circumstances. The Holy Spirit is with you and walking with you daily, whether you feel like it or whether you don't. I feel like sometimes we take our feelings as truth, and that's not the truth. The word is the truth, and what he says is that he will never leave or forsake you, and that's the truth. You may be in a cycle where you feel like you haven't let certain things go, but understand that God is with you. God is with you in all of your feelings, in all of your emotions. In a world where truth is always changing and everybody has their own truth and is very subjective, we understand that there is only one truth, and that is Jesus Christ. And that is who we lean on, and that is who we call on in every circumstance and every emotion. So that was the first topic, and I hope you enjoyed it. As I said, make sure to like and subscribe, because this was just, I didn't even flow into anything. This was just a teaser. This was just a little something for you. And I hope that I'll see you on the next episode. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe to join the family, and make sure to follow all of our socials, as you will see below, on TikTok, on Instagram, because that's where it's at also. So follow everything, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.